Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Arun Singh Thakur from University Institute of Hotel and Tourism Management, Punjab University, Chandigarh. Today, we are going to discuss about the module E-commerce and role of institutions from the paper Tourism and Hospitality Entrepreneurship and Legal Environment. Present module aims at elaborating the concept of e-commerce and role of institutions in development of entrepreneurship. After going through this unit, you will be able to understand the concept and importance of e-commerce, know the benefits of e-commerce for business, understand the characteristics of e-commerce business, know the status of e-commerce in India and its scope, and finally elaborate the role of financial institutions in entrepreneurial development. In many countries, specifically developing countries, there is a great problem of poverty where entrepreneurship has not flourished. This is the concept which can be utilized as solution for employment generation and thereby leading the countries on the path of development. On the path of development, technology and trade practices, the concept of entrepreneurship is also taking a new way in its implementation. The latest trend in the business practices all over the world with the invention of the World Wide Web is called as e-commerce. For the budding entrepreneurs, e-commerce is something which took less investment and has the capability to give you more productivity with an option of worldwide reach to the market. We'll discuss more about e-commerce. E-commerce is operating the business with the help of internet over the computer and smartphones. The foundation for e-commerce are traditional business which opens the avenues further with the help of internet technology. The laws and regulating principles for doing business with e-commerce remains unchanged or may have some additions, but having an advantage over the traditional business practices in terms of flexibility and speed for the business transactions, including the payments. This business technology helps to facilitate the operations of the business, saving cost and time as well as real-time tracking system inbuilt. Information and communication technologies like the smartphones, fax, wired phones and redesigning of the traditional business methods revolutionized the future of e-commerce. However, e-commerce cannot be understood in just using information and communication technologies. It also helps in maintaining good public relations and thereby making entrepreneurs more effective in managing their business enterprises. E-commerce also provides an opportunity for maintaining effective external communication with the customers, society, and the suppliers of the business. This technology also provides a platform for indulging in innovating and new products and services. E-commerce has evolved as a strategy for eliminating the role of the middleman in the business and providing direct contact of businessmen with the customers, that is B2C type of business strategy. Small scale industries are the key beneficiaries of this concept, as many handicraft producers and travel agents got success in dealing directly with the customers with this technique. For the large enterprises, e-commerce has also played a significant role in maintaining business operations between business to business, called as B2B e-commerce. One more area where e-commerce played a significant role is the compliance of business units with the government as a necessary component laid down by the law of the land. Further, we'll describe the various benefits of e-commerce for business. From the business development point of view, e-commerce is beneficial in providing substantial benefits to the business through improving efficiency
in operations and resulting in raised revenues. It enables an entrepreneur to work with new ways of doing business and paving way for success by providing competitive edge. The access to latest marketing information system empowers businessmen to take effective decisions for better future. E-commerce also makes sure market position better by providing an opportunity of cost reduction, better access to the markets, help in maintaining good public relations, and searching avenues of new marketplace. The latest technologies like video conferencing, video calling, WhatsApp, instant messages, emails, and telephone calls reduced the cost of travel substantially. On the same time, it provides real-time virtual access with the person desired. By using internet technology, the cost of marketing of the products and services is reduced to a minimum level possible. Now, we'll discuss the various reasons justifying the advantage of e-commerce over the traditional business strategies.
Global reach. Online presence of business provides global reach beyond the geographical boundaries of the manufacturer. It also provides an equal platform incomparable to small and large enterprises. Better customer service. The latest information and communication technology is providing an opportunity to take prompt and responsive action for the customer queries. After sales service has improved significantly through this mechanism. Efficiency enhancement. By instant access to communication between the customers and the sellers, the overall efficiency of the business increases drastically. It also provides convenient to the suppliers and customers to respond 24/7, specifically trading in different time zones of the world. Focusing market segments. E-commerce also provide an opportunity to focus on a particular market segment rather than a global market through customized search engines and web marketing. Reaching out to the customer, choosing the products from a wide variety, making purchase and timely doorstep delivery is something customer felt that business is reaching them in a convenient manner. Going beyond the traditional concept of business, it is very easy for the customer to choose their products online, order them, choose an option of making payments online or maybe cash on delivery, and also easy cancellation and the return policies are the key factors behind the success of e-commerce.
The another added advantage is the requirement of a different physical infrastructure. The business model of e-commerce requires an infrastructure which focuses more on delivery than the warehouses and showrooms from where customers make purchases as compared to traditional product delivery process. In the traditional concept, the customers choose their products from well-managed retail outlets, whereas in case of e-commerce, the well-designed web portals which are economic to manage as compared to the physical spaces. The focus here is on making the delivery process easy and attractive for the customers, which require different type of infrastructure, including contracting with courier service and maintaining a foolproof tracking system. Major investment is on e-commerce technology. This type of business requires investment of entrepreneurs majorly in e-commerce technologies rather than other physical infrastructure. Investing in physical infrastructure and maintaining them is a costly affair as compared to the technologies used for e-commerce. There is a war of web space for more clicks rather than a physical space containing bricks. Business to business strategy is also getting popularity through e-commerce. Internet is playing important role in empaneling small business enterprises to deal with the big business houses offering their products and services to be sold under their banner. For example, Flipkart is selling many products of small manufacturers, or GoIbibo is selling hotels and other travel related products of small property owners in travel trade business. The cost of finding new customers can be reduced by using online trading. With the increased demand of such technologies, the operating cost lowers down. All you need to require laptop or a computer, a landline phone or a wireless modem for internet connection, a smartphone, few basic softwares, and a printer with some minimum required office stationery. It is also point to be noted that one need not to invest in purchasing all these equipments, as in the present day scenario the market is also renting all these technologies and instruments for a very nominal cost. Thus, we can say that e-commerce will help in evolving competitive business practices at a very nominal cost. Now we'll describe the main characteristics of e-commerce business. The first is the cash on delivery. Choosing the desired product from the wide variety of products and making payment during the time of delivery is one of the key characteristics of e-commerce business. In a country like India, where huge population is there and transport facilities are still not very trustworthy, the customers do not trust the transit facility is for delivery. Making option of cash on delivery motivates the customers to switch for e-commerce purchasing options. The other point is easy return and cancellation policy. E-commerce provides easy return, pick up from the doorstep, and also the cancellation procedure in case customer is not sure even after making payment. Most of the times there is no penalty on the customer for such cancellation or return. The another one is quick and free home delivery. In a country like India, which is very vast and there is huge crowd in the markets, the option of making online purchase and getting it delivered at home within no time is advantage for customers. The companies like Amazon, Flipkart, Snapdeal, MakeMyTrip and Yatra.com have successfully implemented their business models where customers are making purchases online and getting their products and services delivered at their home. There are many application softwares available in the market for doing a specialized business. Such softwares also minimized the investment of human resources for keeping the records of the business transactions. One of the main reasons of popularity of online business solutions is reduction in the barrier for the entry-level entrepreneurs. Business can be started with investment of few thousand of rupees. So many examples of today's multinational companies have millions of dollars of turnover. They started from scrap only. Business can be remained open for 7 days a week and 24 hours a day by implying technological solutions. For the customers, it became very easy and convenient to choose the products on the basis of rating and reviews given by the customers who have used the products in the past. This type of rating system also acts as genuine feedback for the manufacturers to improve their products and services. Technological support in business operations can be provided from anywhere in the world without the limitations of geographical boundaries and physical presence of the person. In this way, entrepreneurs can apply any successful business model from all across the globe.
Evolution of e-commerce in India. With the development of economy in our country, India, in the last 2 decades, e-commerce has acquired a significant place in the business. The internet technology and revolution in the mobile phones had brought change in doing business. The marketplaces are contracting and the customers are at a stone throw away from the sellers. While comparing with other countries of the world like United States of America, China, e-commerce in India, in our country, is still in the phase of infancy. Government of India is also promoting e-commerce through its Digital India campaign, along with providing incentives through online transactions. If the present growth of e-commerce continued in the coming years, India can be seen as one of the largest market in the world. The business model of on-time delivery system, zero delivery prices, doorstep delivery, unlimited product availability, real-time tracking system, and comparison between the products and ease of making payments is something which is responsible for making this e-commerce more viable option to the present day market.
Now we'll discuss the various challenges in the business governed by e-commerce. For the small business enterprise, it is great challenge to develop a website which is able to attract customers. Customization of the websites as per the requirements of the customers and system of feedback should be in practice. In a country like India, where the internet speed is fluctuating and signal strength is not appropriate everywhere, one need to have a web portal which is operative under low internet connectivity. To be successful, brand recognition and brand image is important. There are several IT companies and experts providing online solutions for providing your business a prominent web space. Making payment gateways safer by engaging the most reputed companies can overcome the challenge of the hesitation of the customers to make online payments. These are few strategies which can benefit entrepreneurs in two ways. One, by protecting the transactions from the reach of the hackers, and other, by making their customers comfortable.
Now we'll discuss the role of institutions in entrepreneurship development. Institutions are mainly concerned as the financial institutions which provide financial help to answer the problem of finances for opening up of small enterprises. The most important service provided by these institutions is playing the role of financial intermediaries and facilitating the entire process. In our country, most of the financial institutions are regulated and governed by the government itself through its various incorporated institutions. The term institutional support signifies the economic environment in the organization. The system consists of bodies and regulatory procedures which provide active support information system required for the functioning of enterprises.
Every business has to be gone through following stages. The first is the stage of inception. The operational stage is next, and then stage of expansion and diversification of business. The Government of India, through its regulatory procedures, provides assistance to businesses in all the areas through its various schemes run by the institutions as per law. The information of these financial institutions and their procedural formalities is a must thing of an entrepreneur who intends to start a new venture. For making entrepreneurs aware about the various schemes, many educational institutes run specialized courses, as well as through various programs, Government of India is also spreading awareness. Many non-government organizations as well as entrepreneurship development centers also play a significant role in dissemination of the information and motivating more entrepreneurs to take benefit of the schemes offered by government through these financial institutions. In this part of module, we'll try to elaborate the role of the financial institutions. Providing guidelines. Institutions provide guidelines which shapes the behavior of the individuals working in business environment. In other words, we can say that these are the essential requirements for one entering into business. Without fulfilling these requirements, the business cannot be established as per the law of the land. Despite of the fact these guidelines draw certain boundaries of the business, on the same time they also act as driving force by providing assistance in many ways. The another one is they helps in maintaining uniformity. The institutions, by its guiding actions, also facilitate the uniformity in the society and the business. For example, the regulation for driving in India make it easy for all the individuals, and there is no confusion until unless it is taken as granted by the drivers. Similarly, guiding framework allows the business to follow the practices which result in uniformity among all organizations. The other benefit of the institutions, they reduce uncertainty. It has been observed that these financial institutions increased the social interaction among the business people, which result in reducing uncertainty where one cannot act. The rules framed are mandatory in nature to follow as per the guidelines, and if we consider the example of the traffic laws given above, someone trying to violate the laws will be certainly penalized. One of the procedure also reduces uncertainty of getting financial help and thereby leading to a successful business model. Now we'll discuss the institutional framework of these institutions in India. For developmental purpose, the entire field of village and small industries have been grouped broadly under 6 different areas. Each area comes under the overview of one of the following organizations set up by the central government. The first one is the Small Scale Industries Board, then the Khadi and Village Industries Commission, the All India Handicrafts Board, the Central Silk Board, the Central Coir Board, the All India Handloom Board. The Small Scale Industries Board is chaired by the Union Minister of Industry with the Development Commissioner for Small Scale Industries as its member secretary. Other union ministries, state governments, small scale industry associations, financial institutions, eminent industrialists, etc. are represented on the board. As the secretariat of this board, the office of the DCSSI, also known as Small Industries Development Organization, SIDO, is the nodal agency for formulating, coordinating and monitoring the policies and programs for promotion and development of small scale industries in the country. Facilities are provided by Small Industries Development Organization through a network of 26 small industries service institutes having 20 branch institutes, 40 extension centers, product and process development centers, production centers, field testing stations, etc. in areas where specific type of industries are concentrated. A range of specialized institutions have been set up for providing assistance to small scale industries. These are the National Small Industries Corporation, the National Institute of Entrepreneurship and Small Business Development, the Small Industries Extension Training Institute, Integrated Training Center, and several centers or institutes on tools, design and training. Operating in parallel to SIDO is Khadi and Village Industries Commission, which is a government financed statutory body responsible for selected types of village industries including Khadi. The National Khadi and Village Industry Commission formulates the broad pattern of development needs of the village industries, many of which are in tiny category and are traditional. Similar action is taken by state level Khadi and village industry boards, which are jointly funded by the respective state governments. The Khadi and Village Industries Commission also operates through registered institutions and cooperative societies, which are directly financed by the Khadi and Village Industry Commission or partly through respective state governments, depending on whether they serve more than one state.
Role and steps taken by Reserve Bank of India for the development of small scale industry sector. Credit to small scale industry sector is monitored periodically by Reserve Bank of India, Department of Small Scale Industries and National Advisory Committee of SIDBI, State Level Bankers Committee and District Level Coordination Committees of the bank. Following are certain provisions The first one is the central government, on the recommendation of Reserve Bank of India, has raised the investment limit for these small scale industries from rupees 60 lakhs to 300 lakhs, and for tiny units from rupees 5 lakh to rupees 25 lakhs. The other one is public sector banks have been advised to make it operational more specialized small scale industry branches at centers where there is a potential for financing many small scale industry borrowers. The other one is to extend single window scheme of SIDBI to all districts to meet the financial requirements, both term loan and working capital of small scale industries. The next is with a view to moderating the cost of credit to small scale industry units, banks are advised to accord small scale industry units with a good track record and benefits of lower spread over the prime lending rate. The next is in order to take expeditious decision on credit proposals of small scale industry units, banks have been advised to delegate enhanced powers to the branch managers of the specialized small scale industry branches so that most of the credit proposals are decided at the branch level only.
High Level Committee for Credit, known as Kapoor Committee. In December 1997, RBI appointed one-man committee under the chairmanship of Shri S.L. Kapoor, former Secretary, Small Scale Industries, Government of India, to suggest measures to improve the delivery system and simplify procedures for credit to small scale industrial sector. The committee submitted its report to RBI on 30th June 1998. The committee made 126 recommendations, out of which Reserve Bank of India has already accepted 40 recommendations for implementation. Some of the major recommendations of the committee are: the first one is special treatment to smaller among small industries. Second is enhancement in the quantum of composite loans. Third is the removal of procedural difficulties in the path of small scale industries advances. Fourth one is sorting out issues relating to mortgages of land, including removal of stamp duty and permitting equitable mortgages. The next is allowing access to low cost funds to Small Industries Development Bank of India, SIDBI, for refinancing small scale industries loans. The sixth is non-obtaining of collaterals for loans up to rupees 2 lakh. 7th point states setting up of a collateral reserve fund to provide support to first party guarantees. Then setting up of small industries infrastructure development fund for developing industrial areas in and around metropolitan and urban areas. 9th point says change in the definition of SIC, small scale industry units. The next is giving statutory powers to state level interinstitutional bodies. 11th, setting up of a separate guarantee organization and opening of 1000 additional specialized branches. And finally, enhancement of SIDBI's role and status to match with that of National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, NABARD.
So, the students, let us summarize what we have learned in this module. Besides developing a new type of business, Internet has challenged the existence of traditional businesses and almost eliminated the role of the middleman by directly reaching out to the customers. For example, a traditional travel agency is finding it hard to exist over the online travel agencies. This transformation also led to increased level of unemployment among those who are finding it hard to use the latest technologies. Governments of the countries should emphasize creating more and more skill development centers to train more and more people to be enabled to use this user-friendly technology. Besides, training a great challenge for the government and practitioners is the safety of cyberspace from the hackers. A due consideration should be given to make the cyberspace safe for all type of transactions and protecting the customers from the fraud. In the second part of the module, the discussion of the role of the financial institutions for the promotion of entrepreneurship recorded. Institutions provide guidance, allow for the routine to develop, and ultimately reduce the uncertainty of the social interactions. These functions are all faces of the same coin, but can analytically distinguished to better flesh out the role of institutions play. Institutions provide guidance and frame the behavior of the individuals. They also, as a consequence, structure the incentives that individuals face in their ventures. These financial institutions have been set up with the aim of providing industrial development in the respective states and providing financial assistance to small enterprises. The policy shift in these institutions required in view of changing business scenario of the e-commerce. Thank you very much.